Hello everybody and welcome back to another Deep Ogre review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Generations Thrilling 30 Springer from Last Stand and Sins of the Wreckers from the IDW comics. Easily regarded as some of the best Transformers media out there. Personally, I haven't read them yet. I really want to, just haven't gotten around to it and haven't gotten away to yet. But I got this guy for one hell of a deal, 15 bucks, 25% off at an antique store. So yeah, I got extremely lucky with this guy. And yeah, without further ado, I'll get into this guy's accessories. So for Mr. Springman's accessories, you have this good-looking gun. It is pretty comic accurate to what I can remember from seeing. I have this hole in the top. If you want to put the sword in on the on the on the top, right there. That looks kind of cool. But if you're going to combine them, I'd personally put it on the bottom, just because it looks a little cooler. It is a little bit more of a snug fit, but it does look a little bit cooler having it like that. But for the gun, I've cast in a nice bright green, gray, two separate pieces, green on top, gray on the bottom, hinge on the handle, nice silver paint apps applied right here on the top, and very nice sculpting detail. If you can't tell by all the rattling, it is a missile launcher. So what's cool is you press it a little bit to get one missile, and then press it again to get the second one. And for a fluid motion, all I have to do is just press it more, harder. Yeah, that's all I have for you, for them to press at the same time. So yeah, overall, I really like the missile gimmick. I wish they did that more often nowadays, but yeah, I mean, they don't really bank off gimmicks anymore. They bank off of G1 and Beast Wars and what have you, you know. But that's enough of the gun, and for the sword, which actually I think is a very, very clever thing, but we'll get into that with the helicopter mode. For the whole transformation, you do kind of have an annoyance. It's kind of fiddly to plug in, because if you have this green part plugged into the gears all the way, you'll hear a snap, but then it goes out all the way like this, and that does not, in my opinion, look very good. So I try to have it at a good, healthy medium point, and obviously for weapon storage, grabbing Springer right now. As you saw in the beginning of this video, this can plug in right here on his back and look like that. That looks pretty good. And obviously it does plug into either hand. And right there, that looks pretty good. As for the gun, you saw in the beginning he was holding it, but you also obviously can put it in the back, and that's how it looks with the sword in hand and the gun holstered. Honestly, I really like the way that this Springer looks. It looks a lot more badass and a lot more serious than, say, the Siege one, which we'll get into comparisons here pretty soon. But that's all I have as for accessories. I did not get, say, the instruction sheet, which I never show off even if I had it. So why did I bring it up? I don't know. I felt like it was worth mentioning. As for the detail on this guy's face, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I love that they have that very, very crisp white, or kind of a grayish white for the face, and it's not very sloppy whatsoever. I think it's actually a separate piece. Then you have the very, in my opinion, primey type head sculpt with a nice light piping. I don't have a light with me right now that I can show it very well. I'll probably pop a picture at the end of the review just to show you guys how good it is. Cause it is pretty good, damn good. I have yellow right there for the sides on his cheeks. Woo! And overall, it's a very IDW Springer head sculpt. Obviously, you have his shoulders. Coming down, you have these neat little pads on the side covering the wheel. Going down, you have an Autobot symbol right there. And it is picked out, or not picked out, but has this lining of silver on it, which looks really good. Get more kind of that silver right there on the sides of the abs. And come down. Most of it's molded in green and yellow, but you do have grays right there, and that's just all painted green right there. Down to the hips, you have more painted yellow right above the legs. And gray all right there. Mine is a little dirty. I don't really mind though. I mean, considering I got it for 15 bucks, I don't really care. It's only a little bit of dirt. Obviously, you have the wheels right here on the ankles, down, heel spurs, and all the good stuff like that. You have the kind of blatant, obvious windows right there on the inside of the forearm, and blade, or not blade, but kind of stability for the helicopter mode right there. That's honestly pretty much it. If you don't like the shoulder pylons being up that far, you can kind of shove them down. It's just to give it more of a comic accurate look. You can just plop those down, and there you have a pretty, actually kind of normal looking Springer, which honestly I don't really like. I like it when it's kind of hard to slide them up real easy. I like it with the slides up. Honestly, I just think it looks a little bit better. On to a little bit of complaining, just a little bit. I don't have much to say here, but just a little bit of complaining. This, as we'll see in the other alt modes, really loose, really floppy. I'm not sure how I feel about it. But I'm not sure. I mean, I really don't like it. This side is nice. It's tight. You move it, it stays. This side, it just does not stay whatsoever. It's a little bit loose, but I can deal with that. It's okay. It's okay. But other than that, I think this guy's detail is absolutely amazing. I think this guy's weapons are absolutely amazing. You might not like the missile launching gimmick, but I don't really care. I like it, so whatever. But to get into articulation. For comparison, here he is next to the other two triple changers I have. I have him next to the Transformers Earthrise Snapdragon review for him up on the channel. I did it over a year ago by now. And here he is next to the Transformers Earthrise Astro Train. Just for basic comparisons, here he is next to the Transformers Siege Refractor and the Transformers Generations Drift. Another IDW-inspired figure. I mean, obviously, Drift was an original character for IDW, but nonetheless, still IDW-inspired. I also have a review up for this guy. Again, done almost over a year ago. So if you want to go check that out, review's up right now. Here he is next to some of the kind of like kit batch records that I have. Here he is next to the Transformers Series 86 Cup and the Transformers Siege mainline release impactor. I know that this is the more G1 Marvel comic inspired version. I wish I had the 3-pack version, but sadly I do not, because that is much more IDW inspired. And here he is next to the latest edition of Springer, the Transformers Siege Springer. Mine is a little loose in places. The hands, it won't do it because it's more facing down, and the head is quite loose on mine. But other than that, I really liked this figure when it came out. I thought it was better than this guy, but having them both in hand, I know now who is a clear winner, and that is easily the Transformers Generations one, which is funny because this came out 5 years after that guy, but whatever. And here he is next to the Transformers Earthrise / Kingdom Optimus Prime. And I just realized that I filmed this backwards because I said I'll get into articulation and then I got into size comparisons. Anyway, now that we don't have to worry about size comparisons, here he is for articulation. I have a ball joint up at the head, look up about that far, down about that far, not a lot of tilt, all the way full 360 obviously. Arm can hinge up about that far. It is on a deep ball joint, and there's another hinge right there. So up about that far. Bicep swivel. Ratcheted elbows, which I don't know why they're ratcheted, but sure. As long as it stays healthy, I'm okay with it. About 90. Have a waist swivel. Backpack gets in the way, which I gotta commend. Not a lot of backpack on this guy. Ooh. Leg can kick up about that far. Back about that far. Out about that far. Thigh. Ratcheted knees, just like the elbows. Don't know why they're ratcheted. It's fine. No ankle pivot, which kind of kills me, but toe up and down, I guess. I don't know. Have fun with it. And I forgot to mention you do have a swivel at the wrist. But overall for robot mode, I do not have a lot of complaints at all. Really, a couple of the complaints come in with the shoulders. They are kind of big. The arms kind of are really big, so they kind of get in his own way while posing. And the ratchet joints are really loud. But other than that, I don't have many complaints whatsoever. I think this guy is extremely fun in robot mode, but I'll get to that more in my ending thoughts. Anyway, I'll get into his helicopter mode first, and then his car mode, and that's both of them are going to be fucking hell. I hate transforming this guy, but obviously I have to for the review, so yeah, let's get into that. So for Springer's helicopter mode, it does look actually quite nice. I will say so myself. I don't. I know it's supposed to be from IDW. I don't like these. I don't like where they put his arms. But other than that, I really like this helicopter mode. It does look like Springer. It looks like a helicopter. I don't have much problem with it at all, really. Again, just like in robot mode, this one is really loose, but it's a lot more prevalent because it's a lot more useful in this mode. It's just, this one's nice and tight. And like I said, that one's a little bit loose. By a little bit, I mean a lot of it. But other than that, I think this figure, or this mode looks amazing. For weapon storage, this really pisses me off. These tiny grooves are supposed to slide into the front of it, and it's hard to get in there. It's hard to get in. It's hard. It's hard to get in. It's hard to. Hold on. It's supposed to fit in these grooves. I just realized none of that was on camera. It's extremely difficult. I'm gonna do it off camera. I got it. Obviously the firing mechanism still works in this mode. But yeah, other than that, that's this mode. I really like the sword, how it turns into the propeller, and it actually spins a lot better than Siege. So, yeah, I can sit here and do this all day, but I won't because car mode. One thing in this mode I did forget to mention is the quite obvious, you know, the landing gears for the knees, and right here, not on any rollers, but you can have him on landing gears if you want that. It kind of looks dumb, kind of looks really dumb, but whatever. It was 2014, what do you want? We still get shit like this. Anyway, car mode. And for this guy's alt mode, car alt mode, I actually quite like it. This on camera is the first time I was actually able to peg the roof down all the way and make it snug and fit better. I'm not sure if this is how you're supposed to store the sword. I saw it on, I think, MGo's video, but I just do that because I don't want to deal with it, because it's honestly quite bullshitty. But other than that, I think this mode is great. It looks very wreckerish, and I don't know what else to say. It just looks good to me. It honestly kind of reminds me of the Bayverse wreckers, and it rolls very well. I might have something off tilt because sometimes the front wheel likes to roll, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe not everything's tabbed in properly, because, I mean, this is a lot more, how do you say it, I guess, involved than transformations now. I mean, even with bigger figures, it's a little easier to figure it out. I was able to figure out most of my figures that I have just by myself, but this guy I definitely need to go watch a video, which isn't great because really the only Transformers reviewer I watch is MGo, and he back in the day didn't have the Just Transform It series, so that sucks. But obviously turret still works in this mode if you want to do a little bit of that, and obviously you retain the up and down wheels. Very nice detail. I actually really like it. Same problem. Very loose right there. Other than that, I don't really have a complaint. I really like the way that these shoulder things flip out and conceal the hands. And overall, I really like, this is very ingenuitive and very clever on, was very ingenuitive and clever on Hasbro's part, to make this guy's transformation a little bit more involved, just to make it look that much better. So anyway, I'm going to get this guy back into robot mode, and I'll give out my final thoughts. Overall on this guy, I think he still holds up to this day absolutely fantastically. I mean, from the paint to the sculpt work on this guy to the size, I think if you can get him for as cheap as I did, I got him mine for only 15 bucks. If you could find him for 15, hell, I'd even pay 35 to 40 for this guy just because he's that good. And he kicks Siege Springer's tailpipe out of the water. Having this guy in hand again really cements the fact, and honestly, I agree with the people who say this, that he's one of the best mainline Voyagers that we've gotten ever, really, because he's just articulation and everything on this guy knocks it out of the park, especially the sleek look. I'm not a big fan of the IDW comics, but I do like Last Stand and, what the fuck else? Last Stand of the Wreckers, and I can't remember what the other comic is called. Although, I do say that he doesn't really hit the mark as well as, say, Kingdom Tigatron, Kingdom Dinobot, or Earthrise Optimus, in my opinion. They are still superior to this guy, but that doesn't mean anything, because this guy absolutely slaps ass. Not to mention he looks good next to, say, Drift, or the other kind of more G1-ish accurate wreckers, such as Impactor or Cup. If you even have a passing interest inside the world of IDW, or if you like the wreckers, or hell, if you just want a Springer that's really good, I'd say get this. I mean, hell, he even has the launching missile gimmick, which, let's be honest, not a lot of figures have anymore. Oh, that sucks. But workability aside, I really like the gun. I just, launching missiles is a lost art, to be fair. To be fair. I'm very nostalgic for this guy. In general, just because I used to have him. Absolutely amazing, absolutely loved him, and I'm very, very happy to have him back on my shelf. Overall, I'm going to give this guy a very, very solid 9.5 out of 10. I gotta say, absolutely love this guy. And if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Hope you guys are able to find this guy for a good price. You know, there's a playlist of reviews if you want to go check out my old ones. And I have an Instagram, Maddie_is__gone. And I have a Twitter, MaddieGwen12. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.